So much survival content feels like it's written for people with huge basements, garages, and big backyards. But what if you live on the 15th floor? Well, that's what we're diving into today. We're explaining a plan that is specifically designed for you, the apartment dweller. And it's all about turning what you think is a liability into your greatest asset.
I mean, you've seen the advice, and you know your reality. They say build a basement stockpile, and you're looking at a single hall closet. They say have a bug-out vehicle ready, and you're thinking about those multiple flights of stairs. This disconnect is totally real, but it absolutely doesn't mean you're unprepared. It just means you need a different playbook.
And here's the core idea, which is actually kind of counterintuitive. An apartment building, far from being a trap, can be a fortress. Seriously. When you look at conflicts in places like Sarajevo, Kyiv, and Beirut, you see that residents in multi-story buildings who prepared the right way often did better than people in isolated houses. It's all about using the unique structure of your environment to your advantage.
So here's the game plan we're going to walk through. First, we'll reframe how you even think about your apartment. Then we'll hit 5 simple, actionable steps you can knock out this weekend. Setting up a safe room, mapping every single exit, mastering vertical storage, building a network with your neighbors, and packing a go bag that's actually built for the city.
All right, first things first. Let's talk about the apartment advantage. We need to completely shift how you see your living situation. This isn't about working around your apartment's limitations. It's about turning those very constraints into strategic strengths.
Okay, let's get right into step 1. Designate your safe room. Think of this as your internal shelter, your absolute first line of defense. And it's something you need to have picked out and ready to go long before you'd ever need it.
So what is a safe room in an apartment? It's really simple. It's the most interior space you've got. It is definitely not the living room with a nice view or the bedroom with the balcony. No way. It's the spot that's farthest away from outside threats, like flying glass or debris. So you're thinking, a walk-in closet, an interior bathroom, or a hallway with no windows.
And this just lays it out perfectly. Take a look at a basic floor plan. All the rooms with windows and balconies, those are your most exposed areas. But that interior bathroom and hallway, with no direct connection to the outside, those are your safest spots. Your homework is to find this exact location in your own apartment.
Okay, great. So you found the room. The next obvious question is, what do you put in there? Because just knowing the spot is only half the battle.
Now this is crucial. All of these supplies need to be pre-staged in or literally right next to that safe room. The whole goal is to be able to get to everything without ever crossing in front of a window or an exposed wall. We're talking about water, food, first aid, documents, cash, a radio, and a power bank. In Kyiv, residents who did this were able to shelter safely for days. Those who didn't, they had to make dangerous trips across their own apartments just to get the most basic stuff.
All right, moving on to step 2. Map every exit. Look, most of us only ever use the front door. But in an emergency, that door could be blocked, damaged, or just the most dangerous way out. Your real lifeline is going to be the path you never, ever use.
So this weekend, your mission is to become an expert on your building. And I don't mean just looking at a diagram. I mean you need to physically walk every fire exit and every service stairwell from your floor all the way outside. Can you actually open them? Do they lock behind you? And here's the key part. Where do they spit you out? A crowded main road or a quiet side street? That choice could mean everything. Survivors from damaged buildings in Beirut constantly talked about how knowing 2 or 3 routes in the dark was a massive tactical advantage.
Okay, let's tackle the biggest problem in any apartment: space. Specifically, how in the world do you store enough water? The answer is you have to stop thinking horizontally and start thinking vertically.
Let's make this real. For one person, a 2-week supply for drinking and basic hygiene is about 56 liters. Now, that sounds like a ton, right? But what does that actually look like?
This is what I love about this. It just completely demystifies that huge number. 56 liters? That's just 28 of those standard 2-liter bottles from the grocery store. And when you stack them up, they take up less floor space than your carry-on suitcase. All of a sudden, that sounds totally doable, doesn't it?
So where do you put it all? Simple. You use the dead space you already have. Stack it in the back of your closet behind your clothes. Get some of those flat stackable containers and slide them under your bed. Fill the bottom of a wardrobe you barely open, or use that top shelf in your kitchen cabinets. The water doesn't have to be easy to get to every day, it just has to be there.
Now for step 4. And honestly, this might be the most powerful and overlooked asset you have. It's the one huge advantage apartment dwellers have that people in suburban houses don't: proximity. Your neighbors are your single greatest resource.
And look, this isn't just some nice, fuzzy idea. This is a proven survival strategy.
The clearest data we have comes from the siege of Sarajevo. And it's undeniable. Buildings where people actually knew each other, organized and shared what they had, those buildings had significantly better survival outcomes than the ones where everyone stayed a stranger. A community is a force multiplier.
You don't have to go form a committee or anything. Just start a conversation this weekend. Find out who on your floor has a medical background, who has a car. Does somebody have an elderly parent who might need help getting down the stairs? This isn't just about pooling supplies. It's about creating a human information network. It's a support system. Just knowing you're not alone is a massive psychological edge. Seriously, one conversation with a few neighbors builds a network that's more valuable than any piece of gear you could buy.
And that brings us to our final step. Step 5, packing your go bag. But listen, this is not a wilderness survival kit. An apartment go bag is built for a completely different world, a world of dark stairwells, potential debris, and moving with a lot of other people.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? Weight is everything. If your bag is so heavy that you can't hustle down multiple flights of stairs, it has failed its one job. Your mobility is your armor.
So that means you pack only the absolute essentials: waterproofed documents and cash. Water for 48 hours in the lightest containers you can find, a first aid kit that's focused on trauma and wound care, an N95 mask, which is huge for dealing with dust and debris from structural damage, have a pair of sturdy shoes right next to the bag, and of course, a fully charged power bank. That's it. That's the list. Keep it light so you can stay fast.
And this just shows you how easy it is to get this done. You can do all of it in one weekend. Saturday morning, find your safe room and walk your building's exits. Saturday afternoon, go buy your water and stash it away. Then Sunday, talk to a few neighbors and put together that lightweight go bag. See, it's not about spending a ton of money, it's just about spending a weekend with some focused attention. Okay, so let's put it all together. If a threat happens right now, this is your order of operations. Number 1, get to your safe room immediately. Number 2, from that safer position, you assess, do I need to get out or do I need to shelter in place? 3, if you're leaving, you grab the go bag. 4, you use that alternate exit you already mapped out. And 5, you link up with your neighbor network.
The whole key here is to take your situation seriously on its own terms. Following these 5 steps gives you a solid, robust plan for almost anything. But it all leads to one last really critical question. What do you do when all the exits are gone and evacuation just isn't an option at all? We'll be explaining that one next time.